Could the Canadian housing market really crash? Is this a potential disaster waiting to happen or just another economic scare tactic? These are the questions that have been making headlines, causing sleepless nights for homeowners and stirring up heated debates among economists. The Canadian housing market has been on a meteoric rise for the better part of the last 2 decades. Home prices have more than doubled since the early 2000s, making Canada one of the most expensive places in the world to buy a home. But could this bubble burst? Could the market really crash? One of the key factors contributing to this potential crash is the heavily leveraged Canadian banking institutions. Canadian banks have a high exposure to mortgage loans. In fact, residential mortgages make up more than 40% of all bank loans in Canada. This puts the banks in a vulnerable position if there were a sharp decline in house prices. Another significant concern is the rising mortgage rates. Over the past 2 years, mortgage rates have been steadily increasing. For instance, the average 5-year fixed mortgage rate in Canada has jumped from less than 2% to over 3%. This increase in mortgage rates is causing financial strain for many homeowners, as their monthly mortgage payments have significantly increased. Furthermore, there's the issue of household debt. In Canada, household debt has reached record levels, with the average household debt-to-income ratio now standing at a staggering 170%. This means that for every dollar of income, Canadians owe $1.70. This level of debt is unsustainable and could potentially lead to a wave of defaults if interest rates continue to rise. But what does all this mean? How does this impact the average homeowner, the economy, and the future of the Canadian housing market? In essence, the Canadian housing market is at a crossroads. On one hand, there are those who believe that the market is simply correcting itself and that this is a healthy and necessary part of any market cycle. They argue that the rise in house prices was unsustainable, and a correction is needed to bring prices back in line with economic fundamentals. On the other hand, there are those who warn of a potential crash. They point to the high levels of household debt, the rising mortgage rates, and the exposure of Canadian banks to mortgage loans as signs that the market could be heading for a significant downturn. In conclusion, the Canadian housing market is a complex and multifaceted issue. It's a topic that's fraught with uncertainty and one that's sure to continue to make headlines in the coming months and years. While it's impossible to predict with certainty what will happen, it's clear that the stakes are high and the potential consequences could be far-reaching. So is a crash imminent? Only time will tell. But one thing is certain, the Canadian housing market is a topic that deserves our attention. Whether you're a homeowner, an economist, or just a concerned citizen, it's an issue that impacts us all. So keep an eye on the market, stay informed, and be prepared for whatever the future may bring.